Hi guys, Aileen here. I'm just doing another conversation with a friend video. Actually, I think I'm probably going to do two today because I wanted to do a wig try on of my wig collection. However, then I realized it was November 5th, which is my Hildiversary. And so I couldn't make a video on my Hildiversary without talking about my healing story. And this kid is really, really needy right now, so he might be a part of the video. So I don't think I've ever talked about it on this channel, but when I was a teenager, I got really sick. Meaning I was throwing up all the time, had other digestive issues that kept me in the bathroom all the time. Everything I ate made me sick, and I was losing weight like crazy. I am right now the same height that I was back then, but I'm about probably 30 pounds more than I was at that time because I was so incredibly thin. And my mom kept taking me to the doctor again and again and again. And they would treat me with antibiotics, which I think probably led to a lot of the issues that I'm dealing with today in my 40s. But that's another side note. I was treated with so many different things because they were saying, well, it could be this and it could be that, and let's just throw a whole bunch of medicine at it and see what happens. Eventually, I got a blood test for something that was very, very unknown back then called celiac disease. Now, as you're watching this video in the 2020s, it is 2025 right now, celiac disease is very common. But back then, gosh, when was that? 1996, 97? In the 90s, it was absolutely not heard of. There wasn't even any gluten-free foods in the grocery store. Whole Foods was then Wild Oats, which I got very used to. I started carrying around with me. Let's go back to the story. So I was diagnosed with celiac disease and nobody knew what it was. The internet was very young still, but there was enough information there that I could print out the ingredients that were not safe. So I printed out 3 pages. The font was size 8 and there were 3 columns on each page. And these were the ingredients that I was not to eat. So I would carry this piece of paper around with me, these 3 pieces of paper, folded up, and I would go to the grocery store and I would find things that worked. And if I found something that worked, I would stick with that. I ate a lot of potatoes and rice. I got really good at cooking my own food. I did learn as a teenager how to make gluten-free corn dogs and gluten-free donuts because, hello, I was a teenager. So, all that to say, I learned to live with celiac disease. It is not something that is debilitating. It is not something that is life-ending. It's whatever. It was difficult to get used to as a teenager where I couldn't eat any of the foods that my family could eat or any of the foods that my friends could eat, but it's okay. Once I got strict on that diet and really honed in on what I could eat, I did start to feel better and gain back weight and be a normal person again. Fast forward a couple of years, I have always been a Christian, and I was attending a college group at one of the churches, and this was a church that I had gone to for youth group, and so I knew the group of people well, and I guess it just never came up. I was just really good at keeping track of what I could eat and couldn't eat, that it just never really came up that I had celiac disease. And one of the guy that was leading the college group was telling everybody, hey, there's donuts, please grab a donut before you go. And I was like, thank you, I can't eat donuts. And he said, why? And I explained to him, and he was like, well, would you like prayer for that? Now, mind you, I had been living with this for 3 years, and my grandfather was a pastor. My parents and my family were very active in our church. I had been prayed for so many times to get healed that I could not count how many times it had happened. But also, I'm not going to turn down prayer. So I said, sure. And we gathered in the hallway, a dark hallway. I don't know why we didn't turn the lights on, but it was a dark hallway. And it was me and my friend who had come with me that week, and the pastor and his wife, and another person that I knew from the college group. And the five of us just stood there. And I think he put his hand on my stomach while we were praying. And I don't even remember the words that he said. I just remembered it was pretty short and sweet and to the point. And then I went home. And as I was walking, let's see, it was late enough that the rest of my family had already gone to bed and the house was dark. And I was walking from the back door through the kitchen. And I got a thought in my head. And that thought was, what if every time that I was prayed for, I was healed? I just didn't believe it. I didn't take it. I had always had this idea that this was not something that I suffered with. It's just something I dealt with, that other people needed healing more, like that God had a finite amount of healing and he didn't need to waste it on me, which is crazy because God has no limit to what he can do. He could heal every single person on earth of everything they suffer from and still have enough to heal more people. So that scarcity mindset, and I don't know, other things that I was thinking, I really just felt in that moment, maybe I'm the reason I'm not getting healed. And hear me now, right now as I say it, every situation is different, and the Bible doesn't really give us a clear answer to why some people are healed and some people aren't. And so I'm not saying right now that if you've been prayed for and you've not been healed, that it's your fault. I'm just saying that in my case, that's what I felt that day. And so I had another idea, and I decided that I was going to take one of my dad's cookies, you know, those little sandwich cookies, like the off-brand Oreos. This one was vanilla, which are much better than the chocolate, personal opinion. And I took that cookie, and I was thinking about eating it. Eating that cookie would have or should have given me about 5 hours of pain on a normal day. So it took me a little bit of time to work up the courage. I actually held the cookie and sat on the counter and thought about it for a few minutes. And then I took 2 bites of the cookie. So I ate about half of it. And then I threw the rest away because I was really afraid that I was going to reap the benefits or the consequences of eating that and be really sick. And I wanted to eliminate how much sick I was going to be. So I threw the rest of the cookie away and I went to bed. And I slept through the night. I didn't wake up with upset stomach. I didn't wake up needing to run to the bathroom. I slept through the night. I woke up with no issues. And later that day, my sister was eating ramen noodles and I asked her if I could have a bite, which, just to mind you, I never cheated on my diet because it was so painful. Hi, yes. He really wants to be a part of this. It was so painful to cheat, so I never did it. So my sister thought that was very weird, but she did let me have a bite. So I had a bite of her ramen noodles. And then I think the next day I had a bite of a corn dog. Just wonderful choices of food, right? But when you're a teenager, I was still a teenager. I was 19 at this time. I was 16 when I was diagnosed, and I was 19 at this point in the story. Sorry, he's just really wanted to be a part of this. So at this point, after I'd eaten the bite of ramen and the bite of corn dog, I told my mom what had happened. And she said, "That's awesome. That's so cool. Maybe slow down on the cheating and we'll get you retested." So, of course, I'm a teenager and I did not slow down on the cheating. Over the next week, I had my own bowl of ramen, my own corn dog, and a couple other things that I hadn't been able to eat. Other than that, I mostly stuck to my diet, but I was sneaking in things here and there because I was a teenager and I was 100% convinced that I was healed. And so we did get that test scheduled at my doctor, and it was a blood test. So we went in to get tested, and it should have come back about 2 weeks later, but we didn't hear anything. And there was a lady at my church named Clarissa. If you're watching this, hello, Clarissa, love you. She took a copy of the test results and she brought it to me, which probably highly illegal, but I don't care. It was amazing. She gave me the test results, and on there it had written, it showed negative, and then the doctor had written speculation ? Because he didn't know why. Later I did end up talking to him, and he speculated that because I had been on a clean diet for so long that maybe it was a false positive. He didn't know that when I got retested, I had been eating all kinds of gluten. And just a few days before I was prayed for, before I was healed, I had gotten sick from cross-contamination of something. So eating something not that had gluten in it, but something that was prepared with something else that had gluten. So I know that I was still very sensitive to gluten before I was prayed for, before I was healed. Anyhow, like I said, today is November 5th. It's my healediversary. And so we kept it secret a little bit longer, and we went to Thanksgiving, which of course is at the end of November. And Thanksgiving was one where I could still eat. You know, I could eat the mashed potatoes and I could eat the turkey. I just couldn't have the pie or the biscuits or the whatever else stuff with gluten in it. So I got a plate of food, and then before my grandpa prayed, I told everybody in the room that I had been healed. And this was a very big thing. My grandpa was overjoyed. He would go on a run every morning or a walk every morning. And he told me that he prayed for me to get healed every single morning. And so I know that it wasn't just this one time that I got prayed for that I got healed. There were so many prayers that were working in my favor. And so that was, I would say, an experience that took my faith from the head knowledge to the heart knowledge, from something I grew up in, something I've been taught, something that was part of my family culture, to being something that was super personal to me. I call it the foundation moment of my faith, where when I meet somebody, when I know somebody's going through something, I always pray that God will give them a foundation moment, like something where he speaks to them in a way that they know that it was only God, that nothing else could have caused that. So fast forward, here I am at 42. I think I'm 43. Sorry. Once you get up here, you forget how old you are very easily. I believe that I'm 43. Yeah. Anyhow, I still have no issues with gluten. I do have issues with all kinds of food, but I think that is because we live in a kind of toxic world and there's so many chemicals. I do eat very clean now. I don't eat seed oils. I eat only organic fruits and vegetables. I eat grass-fed dairy and beef products, and I try to limit my processed sugars and other stuff. But it is not because I have to, it's because I choose to. Because now in my life, I realize so clearly that God put certain foods in the world, and then man added all kinds of crap to them. So I just wanted to tell you guys about my healed story. I do have a tattoo on my back. Let's see if I can get it to where you can see it. Oh, kind of right there. Anyways, it says healed in, I don't remember what languages it is. It's from Mark 5:34. So whatever language the New Testament is in, it's from that. That word healed means to be healed from a disease. That story is where the woman touches the hem of Jesus' robe, and he says, go in faith, or go in peace, my daughter, your faith has made you well." That word well means to be healed from a disease. So that's the word that I have right there on my back. And yeah, so there you go. There's my healing story. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you would like to see me try on all my wigs, check it out. I'm going to hit stop on this video and I'm going to hit play and I'm going to record just another one with me trying on my wigs. So